everybody! Today for you guys, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 most anticipated reads for 2017. Some of these are new releases for 2017, and then some of them are books that I wanted to read in 2016 or that I've wanted to read for a while and I just haven't gotten around to yet. And these are basically just my personal list of the top 10 books that I must read this year. If you guys are interested in some of my other lists for the years, I have done a most disappointing reads for 2016. I have also done my favorite books for 2016. So definitely go check those out if you haven't seen them, but let's just get on to the books that I am most excited for this year. This is in no particular order, although I must say that the first one probably is the one that I am most excited for just because I absolutely love the series, and it is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. This is the third, potentially final novel. I don't know. This was supposed to be a trilogy, and then the publishing set her up so that she can write like I think another 2 more books, but she said that this third book is going to be like basically the finale to Feyre's whole story, and then maybe the other 2 might be more like companions or might be something else to do in this universe. I'm really confused. I think everybody is, and I don't think anybody really knows what's going on here. But either way, this is a Court of Thorns and Roses novel by Sarah J Maas. This is the 3rd installment, and I am just so excited because the second one left off on such a cliffhanger, and I absolutely adored it so much. And so I really hope that this 3rd one is just as good, if not better, than the second one. I feel like it'd be hard to make it better because the second one, A Court of Mist and Fury, was just so amazing, but I cannot wait to jump back into this world. I am so excited to read more and see basically what happens because we have been left off hanging, and I am so ready to see what is going to happen. Following in a similar suit, we have the final Throne of Glass novel. I don't think that this is titled yet or anything, but this is again by Sarah J Maas, and this is the finale to a Throne of Glass series. Again, we were left off on a huge cliffhanger with Empire Storms, and so I can't wait to see what happens. I think that this final novel is going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be very action-packed, but there seems to be also, to me, a lot of like loose ends, and so I think it's going to be interesting to see how she wraps everything off in just like one book. I am obviously super excited for it, but I hope that it is a good finale because I know some people have been critiquing this series a lot as it's been going on. Some people have really lost interest or they're not liking it as much as they originally did. So I just really hope that this final novel just really wraps everything up beautifully and is a great, interesting, and dynamic story. Next is a personal one that I just have not gotten to yet that I really want to read this year, and it's Six of Crows and then the sequel by Leigh Bardugo. Everybody has been obviously raving about this series, or this duology I guess it is, and I have been wanting to read it for a really long time. I finally just bought Six of Crows. It is sitting on my bookshelf right now for me to read, so I will be getting to it this year for sure. I'm just so excited though to finally get into this because again, it's been on my TBR list or my to-buy list for a very long time, but you know how it is. It always seems like there's a million different books that you need to get to that are interesting you, and for some reason this one I've just been putting off, but I am finally in the mindset and really wanting to read this, and so I'm very excited to get to that this year. Next is Asking for It by Louise O'Neill. The name sounds familiar. It's because Louise O'Neill wrote Only Ever Yours, which was one of my favorite reads for 2016, and this is a book that has just been again on my to-read list because I loved that one so much, and I just absolutely loved the writing and everything. And this one deals with a topic that is just very sensitive and just kind of personal and something that I just have very strong emotions for, and it's basically about like rape culture and stuff like that, and so I really feel like this is a book that is going to really intrigue me. I also kind of feel like why I haven't read it is I'm a little bit hesitant because Only Ever Yours to me was so fantastic and so amazing and just absolutely mind-blowing that I kind of wonder, can anything really like compare to this? Like, is she going to be able to write a book that stands up? It doesn't necessarily need to be better, but is it even going to be as good as Only Ever Yours is? So I've been super nervous. I think that a lot of us feel this way when we read a book by an author we really like. We're like, oh my gosh, this author is amazing, but then you're kind of scared to read any of their other works because you don't know if maybe your image is going to be tainted if you continue reading further. But again, this is one that I finally purchased, so so I will get to reading it. I'm very excited and anxious, and I hope that it is just as good as Only Ever Yours. Next is Of Fire and Stars, and this is by Audrey Coulthurst. I have my little notes down here just to make sure that I'm getting all these names right. But this was a story that was released, I think, November of 2016, and it's one that I'm very interested in getting into. It's about a prince and a princess that have an arranged marriage, but then the princess starts to fall for the prince's sister. So I'm really excited because it does have the LGBTQ sort of themes in it, and I love reading stories like that. And I think it just sounds like such a different approach to like an arranged marriage kind of story. I've also heard different reviews of people saying that this really is great because in this universe, gay relationships, they aren't like looked down upon or anything. This is just obviously a tough situation with the princess already being betrothed to the prince. And so a lot of people that have been enjoying that this is still a very like queer positive book, and so I'm very excited to read this. Next is Jonah by Nikki Kelly. This is the third, I think possibly final installment in the Styklar series. This also made my top favorite books because it's just so good. It's one of those like teen paranormal romance books. It kind of brings me back a little bit to my Twilight-y fangirl days, but I like it because I feel like the main character is pretty strong. I feel like overall the plot line is super interesting. It's very intriguing. It's a real page turner. They're easy to finish because they are just so intriguing, and I'm very, very excited for this third one. I might have to reread the second one though because it's been a while, and so I'm kind of like forgetting some of the stuff that happened, but I do remember it kind of leaving us off on a cliffhanger, so I'm excited to get into the third one, and I think that this releases in February, so I don't have too long to wait. Next is Dreamfall by Amy Plum. This is a novel that is going to be released in May of this year, and I am just so excited. The story sounds absolutely incredible. It's about a girl who suffers from really, really awful insomnia, so she decides to take a part of this like experimental trial, and basically her and I think like a few other people are launched into this dream world where they have no idea of how they got there or anything, and their worst nightmares are coming true. I think that just sounds like such an interesting, fast-paced, incredible story. I really, really hope that the author delivers with this plot because I think that it sounds absolutely fantastic, and I am so excited for this. Next is We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. This is a book that has made so many people's like favorite books of 2016 lists, and it's one that I remember seeing in the bookstore and thinking, oh yeah, that looks good, but I wasn't really too sure, and then after seeing everybody's rave reviews, I'm like, okay, I need to read this. So it was a 2016 release. I bought it when I was on vacation for New Year's, so I will definitely be getting to this soon. I think it kind of has something to do with like aliens, but it is kind of like a contemporary story, so we'll see how it goes, but I am very, very excited for this because a lot of people said that it was like their absolute favorite book of last year, so it definitely has some high expectations for myself. Next is another book that I did purchase. A lot of these I'm realizing that I actually did purchase, good for me, so that I can actually get to them. It's All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Brian Greenwood. This is a story that, again, some of my favorite booktubers have been talking about. I believe it has to do with a relationship with a really, really large age gap, and it's told between a bunch of different perspectives, and it's just kind of like a critique sort of thing about this relationship, but a lot of people said that they like it because the author really doesn't take a stance. It's just sort of about these characters, how this relationship is going to evolve with such a large age gap, and from what I can tell, it's just a little bit taboo. Like there's just something about it that's not quite right, and we get to read from all different characters' perspectives to kind of gain our own about what exactly is going on here. I like relationship dramas like this. I recently read one that I will get to in like a wrap-up video here soon, and so since I've kind of been into this sort of theme a little bit, I thought that I would continue on and that I would read this, and a lot of people really like it. It has a really, really good score on Goodreads right now, so I'm excited to get to this. And then finally, another one that I did recently purchase. This is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, I think. I always feel so bad because I feel like I just butcher names all the time. To be honest, I don't even really know what this is about. I think it has something to do with like a slave and then someone in an army, and it's like a YA fantasy, but John Green mentioned it as like an amazing book that he read in 2016, so obviously now I have to read it. And a lot of other people have really liked it. It's got an absolutely beautiful cover, and overall, I mean, I love like a good YA fantasy, and that's what a lot of people have promised that this is, so even though I don't really know a lot about it, it is one of my most anticipated reads for this year because it's just one of those I keep on hearing about and I keep on telling myself like, okay, you need to read this. So that is why it's made this list. But that is it. Those are my top 10 reads for this year. Obviously, I have many others that I could talk about, but I tried to condense this list down to just 10 so that I can make it pretty quick and then maybe give you guys some good ideas for reads for this year as well. So let me know what your guys' most anticipated books are for this year down below, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.